So we're going to first start off and pass it off to Poetry in Action with Bryce and Erica.
Hey everybody, so my name is Bryce Youngman. I'm the Artistic Director and founder of Poetry in Action, and with me today is Erica Lovell, who is one of our directors but also comes to Poetry in Action with not only a theatre training and a performing background but also an academic one, and Erica has done our teachers pack, so hopefully if there's any questions around the modules or things like that after our little time here, we can hopefully field those questions as well. Just to give you a quick little idea, so we have 4 shows that travel all around Australia. We have 2 teams of actors, 3 actors that travel all around Australia, New Zealand. Before COVID, we were in Asia and in the Middle East as well, and we have become one of the premier touring theatre companies for young people, each year performing to about 80 to 85,000 kids in a regular year. Last year we managed to kind of pivot digitally, and we managed to get the shows recorded so they can still be distributed in the event of any further disruptions to education and the education of the kids in the regular classroom setting. What we'd like to do today is just to give you an insight into one of the shows that we've got available for you. We've got some actors here ready to do an excerpt from our show, The Power of Poetry, which is currently in rehearsal, so you're getting a kind of very much behind the scenes look at work that is being produced at the moment. The show that we're going to give you a bit of a look at, one of the actors in it is pretending to be the minivan driver who doesn't know the show and is being taught the elements of poetry and the show as it's happening in real time in front of the kids. So it's lots of fun. We're going to jump in and have a look at Elizabeth Barrett Browning's sonnet, How Do I Love Thee? And then Eric and I'll come back to answer any questions that you might have about the show or the performances at the end. Enjoy.
How is this going to work? Emma is never going to be able to replace Candace.
Jessie, I don't think I can do this. I only agreed to help because... I'll be in the van.
Wait, Emma!
No, go in the van. I'm listening to Triple J.
But the next poem in the script is a love sonnet by Elizabeth Barrett Browning, a strong, powerful female writer. It would be great if you could perform it to Ed.
Okay, if it's in the script, you've got to stick to the script.
Jessie, that's a little bit weird, don't you think?
Oh, come on, mate.
Are we mates?
Of course we're mates.
You weren't supposed to divide her up in the minivan.
Oh, so I didn't bother you with all the songs about how great Candace is.
Oh, okay, sure, that makes sense. Candace, how do I love thee? Let me count the ways I love thee to the breadth and depth and height.
Stop!
What? I'm reading the words. Breadth and height, my soul can breathe.
Yes, but you're not making any sense. You've got to use the rhythm. It's written in iambic pentameter. Weak strong, weak strong, weak strong, weak strong, weak strong. It's so you know what words and ideas the poet is trying to express. It also helps it make sense. How do I love thee? Let me count the ways.
Candace, how do I love?
You don't say her name, that's just saying it's her line. Now it's yours.
Oh, okay. Emma!
Yeah. Just start at how, look at Ed, and stick to the rhythm.
But this poem doesn't stick to that rhythm. It is a poem of passion and immediacy.
It is the poem about iambic pentameter, and that is what I'm trying to teach her.
But the rhythm jumps all over the place, like your heart when you first fall in love. Emma, if you really want to do this poem justice, you've got to give it some passion. Jessie, I think we should just cancel the show.
Nope.
I mean, there is no way Emma is ever going to find anyone she cares about enough to be able to...
How do I love thee? Let me count the ways. I love thee to the depth and breadth and height my soul can reach, when feeling out of sight for the ends of being in ideal grace. I love thee to the level of every day's most quiet need, by sun and candlelight. I love thee freely as men strive for right. I love thee purely as they turn from praise. I love thee with a passion put to use with my old griefs and with my childhood faith. I love thee with a love I seek to lose with my lost saints. I love thee with the breath, smiles, tears of all my life. And, if God choose, I shall but love thee better after death.
Who is this girl?
And Emma, I've been a minivan driver for 6 months.
This Emma? I've never met this Emma before. That was almost not bad.
Whoa, okay! These guys are gonna have to get this show if they know what happens next.
Hey! Cool. So, that a bit of an insight into one of our shows. That show's aimed at kind of 13 to kind of 14-year-olds. Thank you, Rosemary. I love those virtual applauses. Yeah, so if there's any questions about this show, Erica is directing another show aimed at kind of like 12 to 13-year-olds. We have a show called Words of War. I'm looking at Wilfred Owen's poetry, and another show called Fact versus Fiction. All this information is available through EduLinx and through our website, www.poetryinaction.com.au as well. But if there's any questions now, before we hand over to the next presenter, please feel free to let us know. Standing by.
I figure I might as well just chime in while we're waiting for anybody. So are most of your workshops done in schools, or do people come to you? How does it go about?
Well, we tour 2 schools. Yeah, absolutely. So it's an incursion program. So the actors come to you, and then there's you have the opportunity to have a Q&A with the actors afterwards, and we can also build workshops in with that incursion if you want, as a sort of additional part of the package.
And that being the case, how extensive is the sort of touring that you do? Do you have limitations with regional areas, or do you kind of do more work online, especially given last year? I think that's something a lot of people usually are curious about.
In an ordinary year, there's not many limitations at all. At the moment, we've sort of...
Well, they just built a wall along the WA border yesterday, so that does we can't really do anything about that. Look, the shows are designed to be seen live. That's the way they're designed. It's theatre. That's where we get the biggest responses. That has the most impact on kids. In a digital setting, they're professionally filmed, professionally recorded, so it's as good as it can be. We've also got our live, our live and digital teachers program as well, which we've just been developing and will be available in 2021, which works to kind of follow along what you talked about.
So what we're doing with that is looking at ways that you can use theatre making practices in the English classroom. So poetry is supposed to be heard and performed, but it can be a little bit scary for students to start speaking it. So we look at the techniques that we use with actors to get them into the text, that teachers can then use to get their students to connect with the text. On a more kind of personal level by actually speaking it and writing it.
Works in tandem with the shows themselves, so the kids can see how it is for poetry to be performed and get a better understanding of it, and then backs it up with the teachers training program where they can begin to implement those that learning into the classroom.
Awesome. That's it's great to hear, and it's always having that overlap and the continuity. I think teachers always really appreciate that. So we'll move along, and thanks heaps, Bryce and Erica, for that. Sorry to be always, I'm going to have to be pretty brief and cutthroat for everybody. So now we have Westwards. So